New Year's Day, vocal warm-up, washing up, Shakespeare. So first we'll just start with some fricatives. A fricative sound is the sound of air being squeezed. Sounds like s, sh, f, th. Those are all the fricatives. And then you've got a couple more. You could add the R sound. That's technically a fricative because the air is being squeezed between your tongue tip and your gum ridge. But to warm up, it's better to go for the... And we'll just take a nice deep breath. And then just relaxing the chest and shoulders. And I like to come off and on phonation with my vocal folds. And just warming up the voice, just getting air flowing through and some nice lovely vibrations on the go. In fact, I'll do some humming. Look at that lovely scummy water. Look at that. Look at that. New Year's Day. It's like a metaphor. It's a metaphor for life where you leave the work of yesterday to tomorrow, and then it just gets scummier and worse, doesn't it? Lip trills. And I'm just doing that because I can feel that. I think it's because of the alcohol as well. It's sort of, it makes things tight, and when you go up and down in pitch, stretch the vocal folds out. So that feels nice. Love that sound. But the best exercise, the best one for getting a warmer, deeper, richer, bigger, more expansive speaking voice is the sigh. And for the sigh, you don't use your diaphragm at all, you just let gravity push the air out for you. And you just let your vocal folds stroke the air on its way out. Look at this lovely hormone disrupting fairy liquid stuff. Washing up liquid. You should wear gloves, apparently, because if you don't, it can like mess with your hormones, and if you're a guy, it'll make you more girly, apparently. That's what TikTok says, so it must be true. Did you hear the sound change then when I dropped my chin down? Lifted my chin up, sorry. When it was down, it's more like tight and restricted, and when it's up here, it's... because it drops the Adam's apple lower. And you get more space for the air to flow through. wow. Doing the washing up is like a total metaphor for life, and doing the vocal warm-up at the same time, it's like, it's just hitting me. It's like, when it's done, everything's going to be so much cleaner and nicer. And it's like that with your vocal warm-up. When it's done, it's going to feel so much better. Because that's the thing, why am I doing it? Because I don't like the feeling of my voice right now. So when I change it, when I do my little warm-up routine, it's going to feel so much better. And then it'll be ready for our Shakespeare rendition, for which we shall be studying the work of the autobiographical play Richard II, and whereupon I shall render my conveyance of the Richard II character, King Richard II, not the first, but the second. I don't know what his last name is, because I think the Plantagenets are Bolingbroke and all the rest of it. Maybe? I'm not sure actually, I don't know. Maybe he is a Plantagenet. But, yeah, let's do some more sighs. It's kind of hard to do when you're washing up the fork or the knife or whatever this thing is. It's called a knife. And I could keep going and use my diaphragm. And I look much better like that, don't I? But that's not really, how I look. You shouldn't do that. Don't phonate when you breathe in. It's unpleasant. Maybe there is some benefit to it, I don't know, but I was just doing that for dramatic effect. So a sigh would be like, you see how they're getting louder? I'm not going to do too many really loud ones. And I like to just build up into it, because it's just like going to the gym and you just start with a few warm-up reps where you just get the feeling of it, you just get the motion of it. Just letting my chest and shoulders drop, letting the vocal folds come on, phonation, and I'm slowly going to release more and more from my chest and shoulders. I could feel I was squeezing my diaphragm there. And really what you want to do is leave your belly out, because when you breathe in, your diaphragm goes down, and that causes your belly to come out. And then you keep going into your chest and shoulders, but you get this sort of bloated, if I really go for it. That's like, it gets to an uncomfortable point. Then all the chest and shoulders, and I just leave my diaphragm fully, as far down as I can, my belly fully distended. And I like to do a bit of a fricative going into it. Start nice and low and come up nice and high. Wow, look at that neck posture. Look at that washing up neck posture. That's not good neck posture to have. When you're doing your vocal warm-up, you want everything to be stacked in a vertical line going straight up. Okay. Now we're cooking. Well, we're cleaning now. We did cooking yesterday, and now we're cleaning. But the vocal folds, the vocal warm up is cooking.
And if I drop my Adam's apple down, I get this lovely sonorous sound.
Where I get this really nice chest resonance.
Chest.
And it's nice to do a little evil villain laugh where you're like, and my voice teacher, he would do this lovely little giggle like a It's just nice to get a bit of falsetto in there. In fact, we'll do some more falsetto. And when I do that and I feel my Adam's apple pushing all the way up, then I want to bring it down again. It was interesting, my neck was going like that. I notice I do that when I do pull-ups. I'll like crink my neck a bit. And yeah, it's feeling better now. Might do some nasal resonance. Nasal resonance, the Adam's apple is going to go up, and then you're going to do a nice like me, and you can feel your sinuses all around this area, your mask area. And then you can do a lovely falsetto nasal one, and you get this really nice sharp sound going all the way through your body and your bones and through the walls and into the neighbors' ears while they're trying to sleep on New Year's Day. How amazing is that? Oh my god. We won't do it too much because we don't want to be crazy. What? What do you want?
What is going on
What
here?
is it? I'm doing a vocal warm-up.
What
Do you
is
want to,
going on here, my dear?
you want to join in on the vocal warm-up? Now, time for articulation. Articulation, so jaw. Lips. Tongue. You're probably thinking, why is he using so much tap water? He's just running that tap like a crazy mofo. And it's because I'm not focusing as much on what I'm doing. So that's one downside of doing your vocal warm-up when you're doing your washing up. Although, usually you won't be talking to a camera as well, so it'll be a bit less distracting. We'll keep going with the tongue circles. It's quite a hard coordination thing actually to do the tongue circles and wash up and talk to the camera. I mean, you can't do the tongue circles and talk to the camera, to be fair. And then we'll just get the tongue into all the corners of the mouth, the back teeth, in between the teeth, the front teeth, under the tongue, the cheeks, the roof of the mouth, the bottom of the mouth. Okay. And then counting with the tongue out. You do this to move your jaw and the lips and to increase a bit of airflow and start to get energy. But you don't want to sound like this when you're talking because it's too forced. It should all come out trippingly off the tongue. So I'll overdo it in the warm-up, and then when I just relax and I go back to normal Shakespeare, or just normal speaking, it will feel a bit more comfortable. So something like 1, 2, 3. And I'm being precise with my lips. I'm not just doing random shapes. One thing I am trying to work on is my jaw alignment. I tend to overuse this side like that. And that's one of the reasons I'll grind my teeth down. But this one doesn't get used that much. I used to crack it a lot, so this one has been overdoing it for a number of years now. So 3, 4, 5. Your lips only ever need to do 3 things: relax, smile, or round. And to control that, it's just these muscles here. It's not even so much the top and bottom of the lip. They're just pulled inwards as you squeeze here. 6, 7. Making sure I'm phonating through those voiced fricatives that my vocal folds don't come off, like 7. I want 7. And when I do my vowels, I want a nice big gap to the back of my mouth, where there's that amplification chamber, that natural built-in amplification chamber that will send all your vowel sounds out across the air in a beautiful shape. And I'm coming off and on phonation between my voiced and unvoiced sounds. 13, 14. I never stop exhaling. It's a little hard to feel out if you're not used to it. But if you just go like ha 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 ha, your vocal folds are going ha ha ha. The air is pushing out. I'm not going ha ha ha. I'm going ha 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 like that. And it's the same when you do 14. 14. I'm pushing the air out continually. And my vocal folds are coming off and on phonation when my mouth is in the most open shape for that voiced sound. Voiced. So when I do my sound, I do the S, I keep exhaling, and then my vocal folds come on. Sound. When I'm in that most open shape. Sound. And that's how vowels project out across the room. And they fill the room. That's projection. And it's all coming from that backboard in the back of my mouth that just projecting sounds out the mouth. And we're getting a bit of diaphragmatic engagement there. Okay, maybe a little bit more. "21. In fact, we'll just go into the lines. No matter where of comfort, no man speak. And you should be able to understand the words I'm saying. Yet talk of glaze, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper land with rainy eyes, write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Gotta watch my neck positioning. It's always been my thing, is I'll, like this. When people are acting, when they're faking, when they're not connected to what they're saying, when it's not really real, their neck will come forward, or some sort of tension will come in. They'll have some sort of tension somewhere. It might be like a hand posture or something. And it's like some sort of like comforter. It's like a way to soothe and numb the consciousness, and because it's unconscious, we're unconscious of this tension happening, and in a weird way it's like we're overdoing it, we're over egging the pudding to such an extent that we can't feel that we're doing that anymore, whatever that tension or tick or acting thing is that we end up doing. So we can sort of kid ourselves that we are in it, and we can feel like you're really in it. But that's not a natural posture. You know, unless you're like Richard III. Shakespeare joke. Richard III, because he had like a hunch shoulder or something like that. But Richard II didn't have that. So we want good posture. We want it to be no matter where of comfort no man speak. I'm just going to do a silent breath. Earlier I had a little voice crack, and it's just the vocal folds are a little tired, mind muscle connections a little off, drinking last night, all of the above. And then when you start to do the vocal warm-up, it's not that you're like ruining your voice or that, oh, it's not working. Of course I would say that. It's not that it's not working, but it's just your voice is waking up. And it's like, I don't know, if you start at the gym, you might feel like a little ache or pain or whatever, but once you start getting blood flow through it, then it starts to feel a bit better. You're going to warm up into it. So silent breathing is where you just open your mouth and you try and breathe in so that you can't hear any sound. In and out like that, and I can already feel. Maybe you can tell the sound difference. It just sounds a little smoother. Rather than going, you want to try and do it dead silent, but as fast as you can, which will be fairly slow. And I like to fill up quite a lot. Stretch my rib cage out, especially the sides and the back of my rib cage down here. Going like. It looks kind of weird. Looks like someone's told you something rather shocking. Context for the scene. He's just been told, he's just returned from Ireland, and he's just landed on the beach, and he's going, oh, it's so good to be back in England, love the sand, love this soil that I love so much. My England, my kingdom. He actually loves his kingdom. Not the way, very much actually like a father loves their child. But obviously, like many fathers loving their children, they can still do things that aren't always the best for that child. And just like him, Richard II, loves England, but there's a strong argument, certainly on the part of his enemies, that he's not doing what's got England's best interests at heart. And I'm not talking about the history, I'm talking about the play. I'm talking about the character. I don't know, actually, too much about the history of Richard II, but certainly in the play, he is devoted to his kingship. And although people will have doubts and say, he's not treating England the way it should be treated and all the rest of it, not treating the lords and the barons the way they should be treated, like Bolingbroke, just takes all his lands away. He was a very young boy when he became king. I think he was something like 4 years old or something like that. So he's been king all his life. It's all he's known. And it's taken up. Like, imagine if you were king at that age, or if you were like a YouTuber, or like a child star, like a movie actor, like Macaulay Culkin or something. I think that's his name. The parents, there's this whole ethical argument, like, they shouldn't be working, it's child labour, all of this. And certainly for King Richard II, that's been his life. So he's sacrificed a lot, actually, for England, more than we could imagine. And again, I'm just talking from the context of the play, don't know the history, I'm talking about the context of the play. I think he definitely feels a very, very strong attachment, a very, very strong devotion. His whole freaking life, his whole persona, his whole character, his whole identity is just built around being the king, being the conduit between God and the people, the divine right of kings. That's the way the order flows. That's what he believed, that's what he was raised on. And so he just lands from Ireland on the shores of England once again. And then, what's that in the distance? A rider comes along, gets off his horse, runs up to him, bows. "My lord, your lands have all been taken. Bolingbroke is king. Everyone's risen up against you. England's not yours anymore." Basically, something like that. He's just been usurped. And he knows that it's beyond repair. Because Bolingbroke is so powerful, and he knows that he doesn't have much favour. And it is interesting, actually. Why does he just give up there and then? Maybe not. Like when you get bad news, you're sort of giving up straight away. You have this sort of like downfall moment, but then the next moment you might be like, "No, let's take it back." But let's see. So, no matter where of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. You should be going faster, you should be keeping the rhythm, but I'm just doing my first little rendition, just warming up into it. Write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors, and talk of wills, and yet not so, for what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground? I think that's all the washing up I'm going to fit there for now, so. One of those lazy washer-uppers that's not going to dry it all and do a fresh set right here and now. We're going to leave that till later. Such a lazy bones. But it's New Year's Day, we've got to go head out and get a bit grub, we can't be hanging around here all day, so the washing up will still be here when we get back. And isn't that the annoying thing? Never leave till tomorrow, something you can do today. Never leave till the afternoon, something you can do in the morning. But I'm not alone, so I have to link up with certain people, so can't be doing washing up all morning and Shakespeare all morning, however much we would like to. Just missed the bin. But let's go for the speech. Okay. No matter where, of comfort, no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so, for what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, and all are Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth, which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some sleeping killed, some poisoned by their wives, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state, grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarchize, be feared, kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our lives were brass impregnable. Then comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall, and farewell, king. Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty. For you have but mistook me all this while. One second. I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?